Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. This time, I want to take a closer look here at this issue of Worlds Unknown, number 6, featuring the story of Killdozer. And this is from 1973. Yeah. It would have been April, so it would have been 74. But it was probably produced in 73. And before we talk about that, I want to give a shout out to another YouTube channel that I like. I've mentioned this one before. Is Pete Beard. That's Pete Beard. You know, just like the beard, just like the one on my face. He is a British creator. I guess he's an illustrator, but he has a channel in which he talks about illustrators and the history of sometimes delving into comics a little bit. Some really nice nice stuff there. Okay, Worlds Unknown, featuring Killdozer. And this, I mentioned this a little bit, over a month ago, I guess it was, when I did a bunch of books with horror and or spooky type stories, and showed a bunch of the ones that I had, and this was one of them. And because I hadn't read this in years, which prompted me to read it, because I remember it was real good. That's why I still have this, because this is the one that I bought 50 years ago. You can, and I can tell that, of course, it's the only one I've got. But there's the grease pencil that markings that the old drugstore that I used to get comics at had the code for knowing when to take it off the stand. I never understood the code. So it's a lot of fun. And of course, as I had said before, the same year that this came out was the same year that the TV movie of Killdozer came out. And of course, the two productions were not done in conjunction per se, but at this time, for the first few issues of Worlds Unknown, before they started using it as a reprint for science fiction and a reprint book for older science fiction and horror stories, like from the earlier 60s and 50s. These were all brand new productions, based on established published stories. In this case, Killdozer was originally written. The story was written by Theodore Sturgeon, and with this adaptation by Jerry Conway, with art by Dick Ayers and Ernie Chan. Of course, this is when Chan was still using the Chua name, but his real name was Chan. And Killdozer is a science fiction horror novella by Theodore Sturgeon from Astonishing magazine from 1944, and was revised for the 1959 collection Aliens number 4. That has nothing to do with the Aliens movies, no. It inspired the 1974 TV movie of Killdozer. I looked it up. It is available, that movie, Killdozer, is available for free on YouTube. So I'm going to want to watch it because I haven't seen it in decades. And this story was his most financially successful work from the first decade of his career. Right? That's Sturgeon, Theodore Sturgeon, who was born Edward Hamilton Waldo. It's from 1918 to 1985. And he started his writing career in the pulps. I talked about pulps before. He's an American writer of science fiction and horror, as well as a critic. He wrote over 400 reviews, 120 short stories, and 11 novels, and several Star Trek episode scripts, the classic Trek. And I think I've only read one, if I'm thinking right, I think I've only read one of his novels, and that was Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea novel, I think. I could be thinking, misremembering. So, let's get into it. And here we have this cover, this very dynamic and thrilling cover by Gil Kane. And of course, it has this real menacing, live-looking bulldozer menacing these people. And of course, there's the beautiful young lady in peril. Of course, in the story, there is no female characters at all. It goes, "You dare defy me, and so you must die." And the man's saying, "That bulldozer, it's alive, and it's trying to destroy us," is based on the spine-tingling shocker by Theodore Sturgeon, author of It, as seen on TV. Well, not quite, but it's close enough. And the story, Jerry Conway, it's some really nice work. I think Ernie Chan and Dick Ayers worked very, very well in here. Ernie Chan's inks usually is very overpowering, and so that you can't even recognize his often can't even recognize the original pencilers pencils under his inks. But this time he was more restrained, and the two styles worked extremely well together. I like Dick Ayers. I especially like his work on westerns and war comics. And here because this is it has a lot more of normal looking people here. Okay, we see the beginning. It's some distant time in the past, an ancient civilization, very mechanized, and the robots have become sentient, and then they have a big, huge war between the humans and the machines, and kind of like Skynet, I guess. And then here, the whole world is devastated. You can see this is a great double-page spread of the devastation of the world and things. But the intelligence behind the robots has become personified in an energy cloud, for lack of a better term, of the intelligence, able to make all the machines work. Well, in this devastation, it took refuge in this one location. It winds up being on an island somewhere in the Pacific. Then we come to the present day, and there's a construction crew here. There's some really great work on the bulldozers here, and the machines, very authentic looking, and some great figures. And here, this face right here in the center, that is a great face between the two artists. They're there to build an airfield. They have about a week or so to build, just an airstrip for whatever. And going to work, it's just a small crew, and with all these bulldozers, and they have there's the foreman, and one of the guys is always challenging him because he thinks he should have been foreman. And they're going to work, and he gets he's a Hispanic operator, a Hispanic man who is bulldozer operator. And he gets on uses this one dozer called, which is designated D7, but he says it in Spanish, de siete. And it gets anglicized into Daisieta. So So here they are. They got this old ruin here that has to be crushed, done away with. And they go to town and smash into under his direction. And it's just the foreman and this one operator are off alone while the others are making their camp. Smashes into this old temple, and it releases that machine intelligence cloud which infiltrates the dozer. It comes alive. It starts bucking, and it kills Rivera, who is the driver, and Yeager, who is the foreman. His head goes after him, and so he is having to fight the dozer, and he manages to, even though the thing's fighting back against him, he manages to pull out the distributor wires, and then everyone get there and sees the accident and everything, and he explains the accident, and the one guy challenging Yeager, and he shouts him down. But one of the nice things is that each character looks individually produced faces and body types, which you don't often see in superhero comics. They look very individual, and they so the guys are kind of suspicious. They get the mechanic is going to work on that D7 because they says, I don't know what the heck happened. It just went crazy, and so the mechanic is starting to work on it. He's got to do some welding, and then suddenly backlash. Bzzz, he gets fried, and go, what the heck? And he is killed. So both of these times, Yeager was alone with the victim. He doesn't know what's going on, but the guys are being suspicious, thinking, well, he might be killing these guys, and they're concerned for their own safety. Then the guy who's always the challenger, he goes to confront Yeager, and of course they're alone, and because I'm going to clean his clock, and because I think he's doing it. And then a few minutes later, they come up and find that guy is smushed. And the story is the dozer just went crazy and it killed him. Now they're really convinced that Yeager is killing these guys. So they're going to punch out his lights and going to confine him. And then the dozer, with no one around it, is going crazy and comes after them. They split up and kills one of the guys right off. The others get away into hiding. Then it demolishes their camp, and then Yeager and his buddy come up with a plan, while the other one is trying to appeal to it because he realizes that the dozer is alive and sentient, and says, "I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you want." And now they've come up with a plan. Yeager is got a cable from the generator, and gets the dozer to chase him. He gets it into the surf, and then he plugs it in, and they turn it on, and buzz, buzz, buzz in the water, and it's go buzz, 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 and it is just fried and destroys that sentient cloud right then and there. And so, well, what are we going to tell? Well, we can't tell him what actually happened. And says, but what about Tom? He'll talk, I said, well, who will believe him? Because look, his nerves are fried. And that's the end of that story. And I think this was just a great, great story. I love the story. I love the way it's told, the visual storytelling, and the great artwork. I mean, this is some of the best artwork, I think, by these creators that I have seen. So I really enjoy it, and I recommend it if you get a chance to pick it up sometime for cheap. And thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. And do leave a comment. Have you read the original Theodore Sturgeon story? I have never seen it, and I would like to read it sometime. Have you seen the movie? Again, I'd like to watch that again. And anything else that you might want to comment about, or any questions you might want to ask me, and see if I can answer them. And so, thank you for joining me. And remember, comics are art.